How long did it take you to take over that whole job and design the magazine, lay it out from the beginning to the end, on the scene, centerfold, cover? I
Well,
mean, you looked at everything, right?
it was
You
after
designed it.
the purchase. Yeah, that's when people started getting split up, and because we got bought by a company that had, I don't know, 30 other titles. I forgot how many, but they were the biggest. Well, one of it was Peterson and McMullen. They were the biggest.
Artists.
Yeah, so there was other opportunities in when we moved over there. So I believe Gene moved on, and then there's a lot to go there. There's a lot that goes on before that, though, because Lowrider, even in Pomona, started other titles. Like I was instrumental in starting Lowrider Euro.
What's happening, everybody? I am Joe Ray, and this is the Wired Down Show. This show is sponsored by Power Master Performance, alternators and starters. You want to go all show, all go? Check them out. They got some chrome beauties that could go under that hood. Today's guest, I'm not even going to say a special guest, he's an art and layout director. He goes by the name of Rob Munoz. Very good friends know him as El Guapo. But when it goes back to Lowrider magazine, the Bible, this guy was the artiste behind all of it, the complete layout, cover, all the way through. He is our unique and special guest. Rob, it was hard to get you on here because you're still a busy man. You're still in the industry, and you have a great story to tell that all the mad historians out there want to know about. So go ahead and tell your crowd, your fans, just tell them who you are, and then we'll go from there.
My name is Robert Munoz. I'm a friend of Joe Ray and a former co-worker of Joe Ray, and a former art director, graphic design, photographer for Lowrider magazine, the now debunked Lowrider magazine.
Yeah, all that work and all that working for a corporate company. We all cared when we were there. I was there half the time. You were there for how long with the company?
I got hired in 1993 or late 92.
Where do you come from, Rob? What area do you claim? What neighborhood?
I was born and raised in Covina, the mean streets of Covina.
They're not mean anymore since we came over.
And I never left. I've only moved once in my life from my mom's house to the house I now own.
So we're going to get into music, your long hair, you play guitar, you're trapped in the 60s and 70s because of your uncle. We're going to talk about your dad in Vietnam a little bit, but we want to know, where did this all begin for you? So usually I go on the show, what was your first influence? What's the first lowrider? What got you into this? How did you get into all this? Where was your beginnings, your early beginnings?
I guess I was a graphic designer in high school. We had a graphic design shop, and that's where I started. And I wasn't gonna pursue that career. I got out, and I wasn't the greatest student, and I went to a hard labor job making safes. Working on hydraulic brake presses and big equipment. And I had an accident, and through that accident, they sent me back to college, and that's where I pursued the graphics career. And I graduated from Mount Sac, and at that time, graphics design was still, the Mac was out, but it was still, I started stripping, doing magazines the old way, taking pictures and setting them up on what they called paste up, taking pictures, and that's the way we would strip them into these film on top of the what do they call it? The drafting table. And then we'd send the negatives off to the printer, and that's the way they would do the magazine. So from there, I interned at Capitol Records, and I ended up getting a job there. And that's the way they did stuff still, was that old school way. They had a Macintosh in there, but they weren't using it. It was old school. And by the time the Mac started getting popular, they outsourced the art department. So I ended up taken a job in, actually, I got a job with SEMA. SEMA had a magazine at the time, and I was there for a very short time because I found a job at an ad agency in Anaheim. And, but, you know, the drive was just terrible. So at that time, looking for jobs was, you still did it. You bought a newspaper and you looked at the want ads. And in that want ad, I seen a job for a Hispanic lifestyle magazine. But, you know, what caught my eye was it was in Pomona, and I didn't have to take the freeway. I could drive over the hill, and I was there. So it didn't say it was Lowrider magazine, but when I went to the old Pomona building, I got interviewed by Al Lopez and I was eventually hired.
These were the days before it became corporate, when Al had it.
Park Avenue Publishing.
Yeah. I remember going there into the studios to get the car photographed, to be in the magazine, the parties in the parking lot and everything.
Yes.
But you were there for a little while already. What was that like? You just got the job just right off the bat when you went to apply for it?
You know, I had an interview with, at the time, the art director was Gene Koo. Oh, no, actually, he was the head graphic designer. The art director was Al's brother, Lonnie Lopez. Mm-hmm. So I had an interview with Gene, and then I interviewed with Lonnie, and then Lonnie gave the approval, and then I met with Al. And Al, he's the one pretty much that hired me.
So we all know the story of Sonny Madrid, Al Larry, Johnny Lazoya, and everybody else that came along with Lowrider back in the days when that magazine became defunct, because it's just hard to operate, man. You need monies, you need people you can depend on. There's a whole lot of other problems that come into play. And then Al Lopez came into the picture. 2 years, the magazine was pretty much dead for a while. He acquired the name, got a crew together, opened up shop in Pomona, and here we go. And not only just a magazine to pop out again like that, man, it was full of pages, the color, the cars were different then. It was like a revolution, a revival, if you will, at that time. It was just the right time, man. When the roller coaster goes down, here it comes back up again. And even the car shows, they tripled. If they didn't do 10 times what the amounts of other car shows back then were doing. So it was huge. And for you just got into that job just directly into it and took over and designed the whole magazine right off the bat.
No, not right off the bat. I had to build up for that. Like I said, Gene was the art, and
Gene Koo.
Ultimately, Lonnie was the art director of the magazine. Yeah, Gene Koo, Super Gene, or Super Koo, very talented art director. He was pretty much doing the covers and approving everything. Yeah, I started from the ground. There was another graphic designer, Elizabeth Gavilanes, who was very talented as well. So I had to earn my way up.
I remember going into the office upstairs, and I think I met Gene, but the way all the stations or the departments and all the lights, just the way things were back then, I was so curious is how does the magazine start? Who are the editors? Where are all the photographers? Where's the studio at? While it's all just one big building. So you had to work yourself up, huh?
Yeah, that was a great building. I remember the building you were talking. The one thing Al did, you know, taking it over from Sonny, is he took it to a total professional level, buying the best computers. I mean, the building was awesome. We had a great art department upstairs, and Al took everything, you know, to the level where that magazine should have been, because it was eventually the biggest magazine. No one could touch it.
And at one time, yeah.
Yeah, and it was definitely, Al had a vision.
How long did it take you to take over that whole job and design the magazine, lay it out from the beginning to the end, on the scene, centerfold, cover? I mean, you looked at everything, right?
It was after the purchase. Yeah, that's when people started getting split up, and you know, because we got bought by a company that had, I don't know, 30 other titles. I forgot how many, but they were the biggest. Well, one of it was Peterson and McMullen. They were the biggest.
Argus.
Yeah, so there was other opportunities in, you know, when we moved over there. So I believe Gene moved on, and then there's a lot to go. There's a lot that goes on before that, though, because Lowrider, even in Pomona, started other titles. Like I was instrumental in starting Lowrider Euro, with, at the time, Marco Patino and Elliot Gilbert. It was a venture, little side project from Lowrider, along with Ritmo Beat. We were trying a couple other things, and I don't think Lowrider Girls started then.
Lowrider Bicycle.
Lowrider Bicycle, Lowrider Art there was huge. That's one thing, I did do all of Lowrider Art Day. That's like the first one they gave me to handle myself. And then eventually I got Bicycle to handle myself. And by the time we got to, I would say, Placentia, that I was overseeing.
What was it like for you though? Because you're an art and layout director. I worked with you when I was at Lowrider there for a while. After you left trucking, you came over. It was a good time, man, because I had mad respect for you, even though you were one of those guys with the trucking guys. But what was it like, the difference between a brand new truck or an older truck slammed on the floor, and then you had the lowriders, which are always slammed, but they came with colors already.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to design the background too much to drop them in. I know you're into your artwork and the way you do things,
Yeah.
how you set things in the right background. With all the errors, all the photographers would make you had to cover all of that up, put Band-Aids on them. Photoshop, right?
Photoshop was, in its infancy, but so it was a lot harder. You had to, now you just hit a button, pretty much you can get there. But yeah, it was a lot harder. And coming up with that idea, everything's been done before, but when I started doing the layouts, I started taking detail shots and putting them behind the cars, or the brilliant paint jobs they've had. I would use that as a background, whereas before, they were pretty much either in a neighborhood or on a white studio background with maybe a color. So I kind of took it to, especially with Euro, I went extreme with that. I mean, the layouts in that were pretty vibrant. Those cars were bright, fluorescent cars. So the layouts popped.
Was it a lot easier for you to lean things out? Because the lowrider fan base and whoever buys that magazine, they're very critical. Why did I only come out this way? Why am I black and white? I mean, you got all the complaints in the world would come in. I was one of the biggest complainers back then. How come we're not on the cover and things like that too? But I mean, it was a beautiful magazine. It was about this thick at the time. When I got in, things were kind of starting to change. So was technology at that time. And then you were already at Trucking Magazine. But when I got in, I had a whole idea, and my whole thing is the cars were more important than the models. There was also Lowrider Girls magazine by itself.
Lowrider After Dark, Lowrider Edge.
That sold 100,000 copies, Lowrider Girls. It was competing with Lowrider.
Yeah, that was good. We had a good, John Jarasa was that guy had great ideas.
Guy.
Yeah.
He was.
So he would come up with all these different ideas, and I was his guy. I would do all special projects. So we started 3 or 4 other titles on top of that. Yeah, with John.
Even all the way down to the heavy hitters when he had that magazine too. You've met lots of characters. I met lots of them, and I wasn't even there half the time yet. But you had all the great characters, and all I got a chance to do is just hear all the stories. Dick LaLoach, Marco Patino, Nathan Trujillo, and then there were the others too. That when I got my job, I had to don't deal with him. Watch out for this guy. This guy does this. So I got everybody's good and bads before I hired anybody as a freelancer. But you got all these different freelancers all the time. At the end of the day, whether they're on staff down the hallway from you, you're the art director. They're the editor. They're the photographers. Then you have that publisher guy. And they all have different opinions. And they come and tell you how they want their art laid out. But when it came to quality photography, because that's everything. Every picture tells a story.
Yeah.
That helps your job too, right? Not just a vibrant paint job. Who would you say on staff was some of your good back then, even to the end? Who were the
when we
nice,
started, we didn't have
photographers?
freelancers. It was all staff.
All staff.
Yeah, and when I started, L.D. Stewart was just on his way out. So I got to work with him, I would even say months. He might have came back for a couple other jobs. But then they hired, who's one of the greatest still, is O.G. Elliot Gilbert.
Gilbert.
Yeah, he kind of stepped up. That guy's a I think Grammy Award winning photographer. Photographed the first Van Halen album, won a Grammy for the Candy O album, I believe, from the Cars. And his photography is, and this is on film. This is before digital. That's how I started on film. And so we had Elliot, we had Marco, Dick DeLoach, and Saul Vargas were like the tech editors. So I don't think they shot too many features at that time. So it was, if it was a cover car, it was Elliot. And those are some great times. At the time we had Thump Records next to us, and that was also our photo studio. So I was a young man at the time, and Elliot would shoot the most beautiful models, and I would beg to be his grip. Just here, I'll go move the lights for you. Whatever. It was a lot of good times, but I would say Elliot was the man for a lot of years.
Even with Thump Records, every time they came out with another album with mixed favorite oldies, I'll never forget one time my Riviera popped out in one of them. I go ahead and people would come up to me. Did they pay you for that? Are they going to give you something for it? Did you get a free CD or something out of it? I go, hey, that's right. They really can't do that. How are they doing that? And then they would tell you, when you sign the release form at the end of the studio and you're all happy, having a couple cases of beers outside in the parking lot, well, that's why too. But it all worked. I mean, it became... It commercialized our cars, the magazine, our culture. Look how big, look where it went.
And then to get your car in the magazine, that was
huge.
It was a thing of pride. So they didn't, I mean, you would hear a couple of those like, hey, shouldn't I get paid for this? Because, once we shot it, we'd use it on ads or, whatever we needed to market the magazine.
I was smart enough to know that, hey, man, we should get paid. We should do this. We're bringing our cars. It's going to go on the cover. I would hear that now and then. And then I think, yeah, but they got a line about 3 miles from here of cars ready to get in that studio. And I want to butt in that line. So I don't care what it takes for us. You got to get your name and your recognition out there. So we're in line. We ain't moving. We ain't protesting nothing. And that's the way it was. And it just grew and grew. And so did the shows. And the shows went everywhere, man. Were you a part of all of that? The shows, going to the shows, the events, just to get what the vibe was about?
I became pretty tight with everybody. I kind of, I clicked with everybody, and I clicked with Elliot. And I begged to get on at the time, I think we were doing 16 state tours, if I remember correct. And I begged to get on that tour. At the time I was taking notes for Elliot because, it was all film. So we'd pull up to a shot and I would write down the make and model of the car, the owner, or, whatever kind of details, and just follow him around writing notes. And that's what I did. I think I did it for 2 years, or I just remember begging to get on, and then I begged to get off because it was brutal. You think you're going to all these, states and you're going to have a good time, but you're in a hotel, you're in an airport, and then you're at the facility, and then you're gone. So it was brutal. And at the time I had a young child, so I couldn't stay on the tour. It was just too much. But yeah, the shows were unbelievable. That was the heyday from what I remember. I got there at the beginning when the shows were still at the LA Coliseum, and we'd have a killer VIP room with Taste of Texas, would cater it, and all the beers. You couldn't drink beers no place else but that VIP room. So yeah, it was a heyday. I had great times. Those shows were unbelievable.
When Lifestyle first started out, we always had to raise the level, raise the bar. Shrine Auditorium, went to the sports arena, tried it 3 or 4 times. We had a show there, and we started growing from 4,000 to 5,000, 6,000, 6,500 was our last show. And then that was kind of, it got too expensive. 2 years later, here comes Lowrider, and then they're bragging that they got 40,000 people there. So I'm going, come on, I know how to judge a crowd, especially at 3 o'clock. I come in and you can't walk outside or inside. And the cars are probably twice as the amount. And I go, I still don't see 40,000 people here. And they go to the Coliseum where the Raiders are at. I go over there for what? He goes, half of the bowl of underneath, it's full of people. And I go, no fucking way. You want to go? And rap wasn't my music. And I go, really? And everybody would, the whole stadium, half of the stadium's full down there, man. And then I just sat back. That's impossible. But then what hit me is, man, low riding is 10 times what it was. And this is a good thing for all of us, man. And
Yeah.
this is our lifestyle. This is our future right here. And it was great. It was the best of times. So you've seen it all though. I mean, you traveled. That's
Yeah,
a good
definitely.
weekend. It goes by what, 2, 3 days? Feels like a
Yeah.
week. But
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot going on at one time. You get to know everybody,
Get to know everybody. And
hotels, everything.
yeah,
Did you have to sleep with your whole staff?
I had a room with, yeah, someone. I always had to share a room. Fortunately, I became friends. Uh, Lobo, was it El Larry? Lobo, was it Lobo or El Larry? Forgot what they
Was
called.
Larry
Larry
Gonzalez?
Gonzalez. He was the tour director when I got hired,
Yeah.
and he had an assistant, Ray Oaxaca, who I became good friends. You know, we had a lot in common. We really we clicked. So he was El Larry's assistant, who eventually became replaced El Larry, and yeah, he would hook me up. So yeah, I would have good times with
There are plenty of stories you can never talk about, though, right?
yeah, they're
A lot of stuff
all
that we don't
rumors,
know.
all rumors.
Car shows by themselves
Yeah,
inside the bar areas.
you know, some great stories. You know, everyone tried to please Ray because you know he was a tour director, so all the car clubs would hook him up, and you know I was right there with him to be hooked up. You know, like one of the rollers only, man. They would treat Ray, you know, like a god. And George Jaramillo, we'd go to his house. We'd have you know great parties and some good times, man.
Everybody wanted to be in the magazine, whatever it takes, right?
Yeah. Oh man.
And you guys were the rock stars for them.
Yeah.
They could get on your side,
And for
right?
me, it was all new because you know I guess I'm not considered a lowrider. I didn't come in as a lowrider. Even I go technically, what a lowrider is someone who rides low, right?
Yeah.
I'm a truck guy. All my trucks from the beginning were slammed, so technically I'm a lowrider. I may not have been in a car club, but technically I'm a
But you were a
lowrider.
Raider fan and you like the Doors and Led Zeppelin.
Yep.
So that's considered lowrider. But dude, beyond
And so
having,
Al
if I
loved all
had
this.
2 cars, 5 cars, 10 cars, you had 12 cars on the cover every month that you had to make look good, not just for our industry, but for all the automotive industries, for all the Save-On, CVS, Thrifties, all the market magazines. That magazine was right there in the middle, this far. 200,000 copies, everybody.
Hmm.
200,000 copies this thick.
Thick
And you were designing all of it at one time.
at
You
one
were,
time.
yeah.
Yeah, but in the beginning, you know the real big ones, it was three of us, and it couldn't have been done without three of us. It was huge, and you know at the time it was no, the computers were involved, but film was still. We had to send out the film to be scanned on these big drum scanners.
Yeah.
Then they would send us back the digital, and it's a process. You know, you had to make sure. Now you can crank up. You could take pictures at a show today and have it printed tomorrow. Back then, you had to wait at least 4 or 5 days to get the digital back. It was a big process.
I got lucky. I came in right after all of that, where it was all simple and all. But I know that at that time things were going down, and then my argument was fresh is, well, get rid of girls, and they'll have to buy more lowrider magazines. Just put the girls, just put them more inside the magazine. We'll be fine. But you could see as times went, and here comes the cell phone and all that stuff, and everybody's a photographer.
Yeah,
That magazines were slowly coming to an end. The last 5 years, you could see it already, and then comes the website and all of that. I hated that.
I know.
But
Still,
there was a thing called the run sheet, and there were managing editors.
yep.
I've had a few of them. Ray Gonzalez was great. I had a few great managing editors when I got in there, and I had a staff of about 4 photographers. Edgar Hoyle, Saul Vargas was there. I had a few more guys in there too, man, that they were good guys that had been on staff for quite a while,
Hmm.
but that wasn't even half the staff that was there before.
No, man, we had a full staff, four
And
staff
you were called an
photographers.
editor. If you took pictures, you'd have to be chief editor. You were overseeing all of this. And then
Yeah.
there was a run sheet that you had a program, and we only had 3 weeks to come out with a magazine. But there was already a magazine built before that
Oh yeah, we
called
always-
It's in the Can, it's archived. But
yes,
we had 3 weeks to build a magazine and finish it. So we had to have 30% one week, 33% the next week,
yes,
and everything had to be in edit. All of it had to be. And there couldn't be any errors. We had a good friend of yours, Jeffrey Rick, was my great friend too. I understood him. 4 o'clock, he was going home when he cracked open a can of Coke. It was 5 to 4. He finished it, put it down. He was out of there. But he helped write stories with everybody. As long as you got out there and got the specs
Yes.
down on your sheet, he wasn't doing anything. Give me, what are you doing? Give me that story. And he would write them up, and then boom, here we go.
Yeah, because the staff was they were all photographers, but they weren't the best writers. And Jeff made them all look good. He pretty much he massaged every story. Maybe not Dick DeLoach, he was pretty good, but yeah, Jeff Rick was a lot of those stories you're reading are because Jeff put his flavor on. But he was there so long that he had all the inflections of all these other photographers who he was also. They all loved Jeff. He was good friends with him. Yeah, those were good times too.
I got in there, I was a newbie, man, and you gave me much love and respect, man. And it took me 2-3 years to even learn the program, what was going on, let alone watch what all their stories, try to correct them, use a highlighter and go through all their stories and throw it back at them. Eventually, I would just take it to them there. I'd be there at 5-6 o'clock correcting their stories and then run it over to a copy editor that would look at it, fix things. Even Sarah Gonzalez, you could talk to her while she was there reading.
Yeah,
I mean, there was nobody we had. And then that's when the staff was starting to dwindle down. There were cutbacks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And these guys, I thought they were spoiled, but at the end of the day, they were working really hard and they were picking up everybody else's slack. So then I understood that too, man. And so, then we went to freelancers and that pay wasn't that much, but they wanted their name on that magazine. So they would do anything just to be on there. Any freelancers that you got along that you thought were pretty good that you didn't have to, bust your ass off to fix a 3-page story with their photography?
Well, the one that started freelance, not started freelance, but eventually became, man, one of the best for Lowrider was Beto, who started at freelance. He was a huge fan of Lowrider. Started out loving the magazine, and like you said, he just wanted his name, and he wanted to be in that magazine. And the guy's amazing. His studio work, his lighting was just spot on, and eventually became the publisher of his own magazine, Centerfolds, he's still putting them out to this day. So if anybody stands out, it's Beto as far as freelancers.
I was a guy that the car was more important than anything. The layout, the colors in the background had to be compatible. Gene Koo, Mean Gene, he was great. There were others that came along.
Yeah.
There were women, Katya and her sister would come along and design the magazine. That's when you went to trucking for a while. But we'd always run in and out. I'd come over to your office, beautiful office. You always had a great office. And we'd talk music mostly. And then we'd talk about the magazine. You'd hear some of my complaints and what I wanted to do. But then I had a publisher that when I was ready and I was set and I liked what I was doing and these colors went with it, this was the right car, I had to run it through him and he disagreed with almost everything. Mm-hmm. So we come to a happy medium. But the poor art director, then I had to change his mind like 4 or 5 times. And at the end, they would tell me, hey, I'm the art director. You're not going to tell me what colors I know you are because I'm the editor, mm-hmm. right?
Yeah.
And then they would tell me, well, you would tell me, why are you the editor? Why are you going over to the publisher to get his opinion? You don't need to go over there. Stay right here. We're done, right?
Yeah.
I'm sending this off for print. We had so much time, so much fun, IT, but I know when I got in, the heyday already passed me by. All the old war stories. I saw you guys were worn out. It was probably good for you to go to trucking. I admired some of the layouts you did. Mm-hmm. And I always thought, man, the cars were changing at Lowrider. They were getting even better now. I go, I want this guy back. And you did come back. And you were back there again. And here we go. And then I was afraid in the beginning to bring you my stuff and tell you, hey, this is what I like. I want this. I want that. You think turquoise will go good in the background, maybe a little lavender fade and go there. And you go, and Gene, all them other guys, they would get offended by that shit. They didn't like it. None of them did. I battled with all of them. They would just be quiet and I understood, okay. But I am the editor.
Yeah.
And then I'd leave and they come back and show me something else. And I Then I get furious. I run to the publisher and tell him. Then he'd come with me, and then I look like a fool there with him behind me. So I just started saying, no, it goes this way. I want it this way. And
Yeah.
then we compare a lavender background magazine of a 72 Caprice, and that art director wanted it in magenta. And then the publisher said, no, vanilla color would go good too. And we were never ready, but we were set, and it was good to see, well, let me vision it this way.
Yeah.
And you get that all the time. To this day,
Yes.
people are going to come up to you and tell me, well, this is what I see. This is what I like to see. I want it to be different. Don't you think? And then you do that for them. Then they see it. No, that's not going to work. Okay, let me come up with something else. And they just burned your time. All your whole life, you've been through that.
Yeah. Well, you got to get, if you're as an art director, you got to get used to changes. You're working with a bunch of other, and as far as you, obviously you're very creative with color, and you're a very creative guy. So, I mean, I had no argument really with you. If anything, it was just to.
You never wanted to punch me out.
No, hell no, no. I
No,
love you.
because I had mad respect for you. I saw something in your office one time when I came in my first day, and I said, oh, this guy's going to be okay, man. But you stuck to your guns, man. You were old fashioned, and you knew what you were doing, and no one was going to tell you nothing. And you never got pissed off at me, man. You just rolled with me, man. And you bent a lot.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. But at the end of the day, when I was good on something that I thought, this is our magazine cover, and then I ask, are you happy with it? And then you would just say, yeah, it looks good. I go, fuck, man. I go, what would you change on? Just tell me. And we go do lunches with everybody sometimes. And I try to get in good with you because I knew you knew way more than I did. But at the end of the day, that publisher guy knew what was going to sell.
Yeah.
There were poses of certain women models. There was a certain pose that they would perform on the cover of the magazine. And that thing, when it came to sales and everybody's jobs, if that magazine sold, well, it was because of that. And I had my office, I had like 60, a couple years worth of magazines, and everybody would come and report in my office and tell me, this magazine sold this much.
Yes.
And this magazine sold this much. This magazine sold that much.
None of it ever proven.
And they go, and do you know why, Joe? And I would look at it and I go, yeah, because it was a 76 Caprice.
Yeah.
And they didn't know what a 76 Caprice, they didn't care about that. No, it's because the color of the car, it's lime green.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, what?
It'd be anything. They would say it was a rear shot that sold more. It would say, and they would never had any proof of why it sold, or because this number was bigger, or because numbers were on the cover. I mean, they had every little thing why this cover sold this much, but never no proof. They could never prove it. It was all just a bunch of talkers.
And I know that some of the magazines didn't sell in the beginning of the year. Those were the dead times around the holidays and all the way up to February. But, it was rough. Like, there's no magazines today. Just try it. You had a huge staff. The staff you had back then in the early days when it's selling 200,000 magazines, how many people were on staff? Everybody.
Yeah.
20?
Man. Yeah, over 20. I would say around 30. Yeah, because I'm counting all finance, I'm counting, ad guys, I'm counting everybody. Yeah.
I know the publisher had 3 or 4 sales guys. I had 3 or 4 editors, photographers. I had a copy editor.
And we had 4 designers.
A layout guy, and that was it. And, so we're looking at 12 to 15 people that were running that magazine. They were on your ass. Where's the man? I need this picture. Did it come in yet? Or that story? Okay, you know what? Pull that story.
Oh, man.
Bring in another story. And it's like back and forth. And you never wanted that guy in that corner office to know about it, because then he'd come up and before he could get to me, and then in the days that when it started to slow down a little bit, I mean, there was hardly any of us left, and we had the production. It didn't change. We had to be there, though the magazine was a lot thinner too.
Yeah, and technology helped. You were able to get rid of people because of that computer.
Did you miss when you went to Trucking Magazine for some other reasons?
It was
when you went there?
It was an offer I couldn't refuse.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the publisher at that time let you go.
Yeah. Yep.
And
did me a favor.
That was cool what he did, though. That. Did you miss it?
Yeah, I miss my friends. Yeah, but the good thing is it was right in the
were
same
right
building.
yeah.
Yeah, even though you guys kind of disowned me after I went to trucking, but that was all right.
That was okay?
Yeah, it was okay. You guys I didn't go into lunch without me. I know.
God damn. Well, at some of those times, you need to go to lunch with us, Rob. You were still working out with Manny downstairs and everything.
Oh yeah.
I had, we could do 5 shows on this guy. We had just so much fun. Run into your office every morning. We talk sports. We talk about the Raiders, talk a little bit about the Dodgers, go back and forth, leave, come back, talk about music all the time. All the songs I knew, you knew songs that I didn't never heard before because there were 2, 3 hit wonders, and you had other songs. We discussed music all the time, and I had to come back and tell him, man, I think you're like 20 years younger than me. How do you know that damn music? And you knew all. I mean, and you were dedicated to the 60s and the 70s. That was so badass, and I just couldn't get it because of your uncles, huh?
My uncles, yeah, and my mother too. She loves music. Yeah.
And you played in a band back in the days.
I played in bands.
You had the long hair, the whole thing.
Yeah, man. I was heavy metal.
And you played guitar.
Play guitar. I still play guitar. I love to play guitar.
Favorite bands?
That's a man. That's a hard question. Well, the greatest, I guess, that started it all. You got to go with the Beatles. And
Yeah.
The Stones, Zeppelin. I mean, I can go on. Those are all just.
And you listen to that music every day and never get tired of it.
Never get tired of it.
Just like me.
Yep. Well, it ain't the same today. There's
No.
not that music out anymore. At least I know I sound like an old guy, but it's pretty true.
We have a bunch more stuff to get into.
Yeah, man, for sure. You missed all the
Oh, I did. So you got to tell me about some of that stuff.
about the old lowrider days.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, those were the days. You know, the even like the Christmas parties. It just changed so much when it wasn't family owned because Al had the whole family working there. Trini, his dad, his mom worked there.
His wife.
Yeah, his wife Dina, his kids eventually worked there, and you know, it was just a big difference. It was
Family, yeah.
It was a bummer when they sold it, and then I had to move back pretty much to where I left to, you know, to come to Lowrider. I went right back to where I was, and but you know, with Al, he was a good boss. You know, he took care of me when you know, there's some when he sold the company, he made sure that I was taken care of because you know they had to hire you at your whatever your salary was at the time. So, you know, he kind of took care of me before it all went through. So I got in with that, and it was just you know, the whole atmosphere changed going to corporate.
So when they were at Pomona, when Lowrider was at Pomona with Al Lopez, from there it shifted and it stayed in those offices, or after he sold, what offices did it go to?
We moved to Placentia.
Okay.
And yeah, 5 other times after that. But it was still okay because Lonnie stayed with the company. And
Lonnie was an editor, right?
yeah, he
I used
became
to love
editor.
his editorials, man.
Yeah,
Until somebody told me, well, he gets help with it a little bit. You know, somebody
Jeff
was it a
Rick.
copy editor or Jeff Rick, right? And that's when I took over the job. I go, I don't want nobody helping me, man, because it's not. But I enjoyed all his stories and everything he talked about. I thought he was a good editor.
Yeah, he was a fun guy. Lonnie was a fun guy.
Then Ralph came into the picture.
Ralph was a great guy
Great
too.
guy too, huh?
One of my trucks I bought. Remember when Ralph was doing the avalanches?
Yeah, he had one.
I bought his first one, the black one, and it was like, man, that truck was one of the baddest ones around. It was because it was the first avalanche I ever seen slammed. And
Chrome bumpers.
no, he you know, those first avalanches that came out, they had that ugly plastic all around it, and it was a light gray on the black. It just looked terrible. But Ralph went over it all black, and man, it just changed the whole truck. And he dropped it. He put all Cadillac stuff on the interior and some beautiful wheels and a bunch of other grill. Oh, he painted all the plastic, which Chevy eventually ended up doing anyways. They started painting all the plastic, but Ralph, he was the first one to do it, and I bought that one off of him, and that truck was that was
He
a
had a
badass truck.
lot of ideas, built a lot of badass lowriders.
His Avalanche after that was even better. That green one he did.
That's the one that had the chrome bumpers, though, right?
Chrome bumpers and a full wood bed, like a maple gloss bed. Yeah, he went off on that one. That one blew away the one that I bought off of him. Rest in peace, Ralph. Yeah, that was a badass truck. I love that truck.
Hey everyone, before we get back to our episode, we want to give a shout out to one of our proud sponsors, PowerMaster Performance. One of the most important parts under the hood of your lowrider is the alternator. The key to selecting an alternator is to make sure its output meets and exceeds the electrical needs on your ride, especially at idle. For instance, if you have an electric fan, electric fuel pump, big amps, airbag compressors, you're already looking at over 100 amps. And that's not counting the ignition, exterior lighting, or air conditioning. The other important part is to understand that the alternator must be capable of supporting those electronics at lower RPMs while idling or cruising in traffic. Plus, it's available in chrome, polished, black, and natural housing for single V-belt and serpentine belt systems. For more information about PowerMaster's HPR series, just go to powermasterperformance.com. Rob, there were the corporate days of Lowrider, and if you want to call it the mom and pop shops when Al ran it like a family, those were the good old days for you. I mean, when it was corporate, it became commercialized and it just blew up.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous now, but most of your best stories were back then.
Yeah, that was a great company to work for. Like, even everything about it. Even the Christmas parties were unbelievable. We'd have them. I don't know if you remember the Hop in I think La Puente. Is that one? Just crazy Christmas parties, and at our Christmas parties, Al would invite everybody, even like the top models at that time, like Raquel Maldonado, and who was a personal favorite of mine, and a few others. I don't know if I can't remember all of them, but that one stands out to me. But the parties were just unbelievable, man. Al was very generous with everything. He would take care of us, definitely. And
there was the office Monday through Sunday. If it wasn't a car show that weekend, there was a magazine that needed to put out, or a bunch of magazines
yes,
that needed to come out. You mentioned the models. Was there any favorite magazines that you had? To this day, I mean,
man,
you're only as good as your last magazine.
Yeah.
Is there one that still stands out that's up there that you can't compete with still, or only with Lowrider you can, right? Because of the setting of the car, the style, the paint. Those have to be your all-time greats.
As far as covers, it would go back to remembering the covers. I would remember photo shoots, and photo shoots were a party in itself. We would bring in food, bring in drinks in the studio, and everybody was loose. Music was pumping. We were at Thump Records. Tons of stories. Some I could tell, some I can't. But
tell us the ones you can't.
Tell us the ones I can't.
Yeah, that's all right.
I got kids and a wife now, but they were good. Nothing crazy, but just good times. Yeah,
good memories.
Yeah, and the whole vibe around it was just Lowrider was big. He was huge. So Al had an office right when you entered the parking lot, and that office was rumored to be the main pane window was rumored to be bulletproof, because people would be mad about their car wasn't on the cover, or they didn't win a trophy they should have thought they won. So
there were always little death threats,
always
right?
was he was always looking over his shoulder. Yeah.
Yeah, I caught a little bit of that too when I was there.
Yeah,
you can't make everybody happy.
You can't.
But being a art and layout guy, I mean, there's everything that you've touched in a cover, centerfold, wherever. You make that car its finest, whether it's in a garage or at a show all lit up. Mm-hmm. When it comes out in a magazine, that's the best your car will ever look. Definitely. And lighting's important. The photographer is important.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, you come and put the Band-Aids on, you fix it, you remove the telephone poles, the wire, the fence and all that. Yes. You make that car look its best. And everybody that's out there, you have your favorite magazine, not the one where your car came out.
No.
And you're responsible for all of that.
I'm part of that, yeah. So it is an honor, because I know how much the magazine is loved, and it's the Bible, pretty much.
You've met a lot of good people throughout your life.
Yes, very much
in that business.
I never thought that when I got hired by Al, because when Al hired me, I think he was kind of disappointed that I wasn't Mr. Lowrider. He was telling me, I remember him being excited about saying, "Hey, well, how do you feel about, well, you're working for Lowrider magazine, And I knew of Lowrider, but I wasn't, I was more into, I would say, hot rods at the time growing up, because I grew up around Irwindale Speedway, Pomona Speedway. So I was into that kind of stuff. So I don't know, I kind of got the impression that Al was a little disappointed. And from that meeting, I'm the guy that designed the last cover of Lowrider magazine. It's like, I can't believe it. So I never thought that in 93 or 92 that in, what was it, 2019, that I would be designing the last cover ever for Lowrider magazine.
I didn't either, man. My Eldorado was going to come out the last issue, and then
I have that
said,
cover.
Stop right here.
I designed it. It's still
You guys
there.
are going to stop right there. That's going to be it for the magazine. It's like, wow, one thing I know, we had to let go of the models for other reasons or other. And the models played an important part in there. I always thought the car did, or the colors or the quality. And we always had to spread it out to make everybody happy. If it wasn't for certain states where the cars came from, with certain car clubs, and we tried to do all of that. There is going to be a certain episode we've been talking about where all your buddies, they're going to join us up here, all five of them. You'll have Dennis Cervantes,
Yes.
Omar Rojas. They were in sales. We'll get the publisher, Rudy Rivas,
Omar Rojas,
Mr.
man.
Stealth.
Hey, Omar, Omar got hired at Park Avenue too. And at the time, I was kind of the,
Another 24-year, 25-year guy, right?
that guy took all my steam away, man. I was the young, single, handsome guy at Lowrider, and then they hired Omar. He took everything away.
And I think that
Pretty boy.
probably the reasons why Al looked at it, because it was like the magazine was superstardom.
Yo, big
Selling that many and how big it was, and before you knew it, 3 weeks later, here comes another issue, and you got rigs with trailers taking them all over across the country. It was the best of times.
Oh, it was amazing. And designing those rigs, I used to love that, designing those big rigs. I mean, that was it was an honor to do that. Or even the first tour poster I did, I think was for the 20th anniversary. It had the kind of the Phoenix flames on a red.
The Aztec one, the truck itself, designing the trailer.
I think the Aztec one, I think Gene did that one.
We did the last one with the role models.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Badass.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was a beautiful one, man, where they wrapped it in everything.
I did a lot of firsts for that company. It was a big company. I mean, it was a small mom and pop company, but we were the biggest. I got to experience a lot of stuff. I mean, I consider, I've had a lot of great jobs, but there was none better than that one. It was my best job I ever had.
Crossing over from mom and pop and all those great stories into corporate. Corporate didn't care a damn about anything. It was about numbers.
Right.
I cared like a mother.
To me, they didn't even care about Lowrider.
No, they didn't.
They always treated it like it was
the little black ducks in the lake.
But they couldn't deny it though.
No, they couldn't.
No.
Because the whole Hispanic market,
they all wanted to be. They all wanted to have that ad revenue. That's for sure.
Yeah, we were always at the end of the line for everything.
Man. Yep.
And then the publisher back then, in your heydays, the guy that took over, because there were a couple publishers around in your times, and Ricardo was one of them. Then we had Rudy Rivas come in.
Yes.
And when I got in there, you couldn't wear a baseball hat. You had to come in with a nice shirt and nice slacks.
And you had to
we had to dress different from everybody else wherever we went, because we were better than them. That's what he taught.
And in all of our artwork, we had to add a cat into the.
Oh, you had to?
Yeah, I remember.
Did the cat have a drink in his hand?
Kind of sneak in a cat. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the only. You talked about like all the decisions that we had to make as far as when it came to the art. When you started telling me to add the cats, that was the end.
It was over.
That's when I had to say, hey, I ain't gonna do that.
I had to do that, Rob, because I have so many stories to tell you at 3 a.m. with that guy. So you had to put him on the magazine somewhere. Where are we going? It's lunchtime. Okay. We're going right over here. Yep. And lunch is over. Got to get back to the office. No, it's 3 o'clock. I'd be bringing everybody home. I mean, and
3 o'clock.
everything was on a, yeah, because
You would be
everything,
going home at
your
3.
best times are at a sports bar on a napkin, coming up with more ideas because we had to be competitive with all the other magazines. We had to be number one. The way we handled ourselves, we wanted respect from everyone. We went to SEMA. We wore sport coats, and we were lowrider because everybody looked down on us. We represented the whole culture, like it or not. We cared. Though it became corporate, it blew up. It became commercialized. Corporate didn't give a damn about us. It was about numbers. You had great times when it was mom and pop, so to speak. No disrespect. You had some great times to see us grow when it went into corporate.
Yes.
And a lot of things changed. Your little buddy, the little hockey player, Mike Karstein, came into the picture. Little blue eyes, some little blonde hair.
That's the greatest tour director ever.
He is. To
Chocolate.
this day, there's no one could ever do a car show like that guy blindfolded.
Nope.
And he loved to get out there in the hop and do his little thing and all that.
Oh, on the mic, he was killer, huh?
Yeah.
That guy was dirty.
Oh, no, he still is.
Yeah, he's still dirty.
He travels around all over the world still.
He's just now he's with cats and
trying
dogs.
to start wars. That's what he does, like the little furry animals.
Super pet conventions. But he's probably doing them better than anybody.
Before we come to an end with this show, and we're going to get everybody on here, we'll regroup and bring all of the original Lowrider crew back together at this bar, and we could tell the rest of those stories you don't want to bring up.
Yeah.
When you look back at all of it, Rob, where you're at today, who are your mentors?
Oh,
Who do you look back at all where because of them got you where you're at today?
for sure, Gene Koo. I mean, that he taught me a lot. Gene was, he still is. He's still doing it to this day. Same as me, I'm still doing it. I would say even Elizabeth, Lonnie, as an art director, Al, God, I mean, everyone, Nathan Trujillo, Dick DeLoach, they're all inspired me to, be better at what I was doing. Photography, I've learned from the best guys out there. Beto, Elliot. I've learned so much from all these people. Shout out to Elliot. Even in corporate, from like Marcus Platt. I learned from Alan Alpinian. All these guys. I've learned a lot from just being involved in this company, starting with Lowrider. I wouldn't have learned any of that without Lowrider. It really took me to where I'm at today. Right now, I'm still creative director for another publishing company called In the Garage Media, which is pretty much, that day they let, how many people go? 60 people go from Motor Trend. Three or four of these people went and started another company because, the magazines they're still wanted. People still want to see magazines. So we're putting out 3 magazines. I'm still using run sheets. I'm still working with Sarah Gonzalez, the greatest managing editor Lowrider ever had.
Poor angels. I know.
Yeah, poor angels. Yeah, yeah. She'll tell you about it too. So I'm still in it, and I'm fortunate because of Lowrider. Otherwise, I wouldn't have all these people that hired me. When I got let go of Lowrider, I got a call when they found out I got let go, and I got hired on my way home from being fired. And it's all meeting people through Lowrider magazine. So, I mean,
well, I'm glad we met because when I went to Plan B, when it all came to an end, you've been there for me. I think I've given you twice $50 for logos, for t-shirt designs, logos again, this new design, Rob El Wapo. You've been there for me all the time. Give you and your dad and the family a couple t-shirts is all you get. That's probably the worst thing I could say right now. But I mean, how do people reach you? Because you're more than an artist. You're amongst all industries, and you have a finesse, and you have a talent, man. How do we get a hold of you? I'm not mad because I know at the end of the day you always take care of Wired Down, or if it was.
Believe it or not, doing that, I mean, got me a lot of work from you putting out my work. I've gotten a lot of.
$100 is all I spent.
Even though now, AI is taking over everything. I even see you're using AI a little bit. So,
guys, that's because you're too busy.
I'm trying to keep up with the AI. I was AI before there was AI, so
Right.
it's a little different now, but I'm still hanging in there. I have a feeling that I'm going to be a Walmart greeter after I finish this, because magazines are dying. I'm being aged out by AI.
I think because of AI, everybody's seeing all of that now, and it's not that real. I don't care how perfected it gets. At the end of the day, you want something that has a soul in it, designing it, or their flair or their touch, and you can tell the difference. And I think everybody eventually is going to go back. I don't know if the magazines will ever come back like they were, but looking at these 3 magazines you have here on the cars and the layout, man, the size of it, the quality of paper and all is like, wow, those are beautiful times, man.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it's going away at all. You have your mentors. I know who your mentor is, and I brought it up on the show. You still have your mom and dad with you.
Yes.
Besides your immediate family, the kids, the basketball player, your daughter, your mom, your dad, man, you're special. You're quiet. You hold a lot inside. We've talked about your dad, a Vietnam vet.
Yes, sir.
I went for the draft. I almost went. Everybody before me was a little bit older. They didn't come back. I always feel guilty about that. Your dad was there, so I have mad respect for that man. And you show me pictures of the whole thing, all of it. And your dad is sick now. And I ask everybody to pray for him. He's fighting a different battle, but man, Rob, and I know your mom too, and what you go through, and what a son you are, because you take care of both of them. But at the end of the day, Rob, they're alive, even though they're miserable. Your parents are going through pain. But what relieves the pain is they look down at their son and say, that's one bad motherfucker right there.
Thank you, man.
And you are, Holmes. You are.
I appreciate you.
And when I look at that, what you do, it puts me in check too. Though I don't have my parents anymore, I know what you're suffering through, because they suffer too. But for all of us out there, you know what? What you're going through, you're doing both parents at the same time, but they're here and they're watching where their son is at today. And you know what? Not too many parents can be that proud, man. And you're one of those sons.
Thank you.
Anything else to say before we come to a close and I bring up your other 5 members of your all-star staff that you had back at Lowrider in the days? We'll do that within about a month, I would say.
Yeah, no, I'll save the stories for then. Yeah, there'll probably be a lot more coming up once we all start.
Jimmy Page was the greatest guitarist.
Jimmy Page.
Santana was close.
Van
Halen was the baddest.
Jimmy Page, man.
Fucking Dodgers are just kicking ass.
Yes.
Or Padres. The Raiders, they should have been in LA still, right?
No, they should still be in Oakland.
In Oakland?
Yeah.
And the Lakers?
I left when Kobe was gone.
Kobe did this.
Yeah.
I never saw LeBron, was always worried about his name on the back. And it's too bad, man. He was great, and I love all those years and everything. But Rob, man, it's a special honor to have you on this show.
Thank you, Joe.
I hope everybody enjoyed that, because everybody talks about Lowrider Magazine. And back in the days, we wish we still had the magazine. Well, it was a real magazine before I came along, when it was about that thick and that many numbers.
Yep.
Those were the heydays. Even when it's commercialized, look where we're at today. But this guy has a lot to do with it. All right, everybody, we'll come to a close with a Wired Down show. Rob Munoz, El Guapo, how do we get a hold of you?
At robguapo.com. Oh, yeah, that too. And at Rob Guapo Instagram.
That's it?
That's it, yeah.
Want to give out your phone number?
No.
I will. I'll just drop it in somewhere.
8675309.
That's it. There you go, everybody. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you again.
Sure.